Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on Sports and Money with Ben Parker. We're talking about the Raiders hotel tax, which in reality is a state of Nevada hotel tax, and how long it's going to take them to raise that $750 million that the state of Nevada promised to the Raiders to finance that new stadium that they're hoping will be set to open in just a couple of years for the Raiders, just a couple of seasons. So we're going to look at that, how long it's going to take that kind of money to be raised. Most of that is coming from the city of Las Vegas itself, which had in 2016 40 million tourists come through the city. They've been building up to that, but they've been close to that over the past few years, pushing 40 million each of the past few years. So we're going to start with that number, 40 million people. Average cost of an average hotel room in the city of Las Vegas is $115 per night. Now, that can certainly change depending on the hotel and the night, but the average hotel on the average night in Las Vegas is $115. You might say, well, that sounds kind of cheap, but for Las Vegas, they want people to be able to come first, spend the money when they get there, so that's why the hotel rooms aren't more extravagantly priced than you might see in other cities, because they're not looking to necessarily make a killing off the hotel room itself. They are counting on people spending a ton of money once they get there. So $115 per night for one night at an average hotel on an average night in Las Vegas. The tax itself, this is by the state of Nevada, the tax itself, and I know for some of you this is too many numbers, for others of you it's not enough. The tax itself is a 0.88% tax, which when you multiply it times $115 a night, you get $1.01 added to your hotel bill for staying there. So if one tourist spends one night in Las Vegas, they will have to pay an extra $1.01. Let's call it an even dollar. Round numbers are easier to work with. An even dollar that they will have to pay, and that will go to the Raiders, the state of Nevada hotel tax for that brand new stadium. Now, $1 times 40 million tourists a year is, of course, $40 million. Now, how long will it take at the rate of $40 million per year? That's a lot of money coming through, but that's the kind of money that has come through Las Vegas for a long time. As most of you know, $40 million would be raised in 1 year under the current circumstances towards that Raiders stadium, new stadium that's going to be built. How many years would it take at the rate of $40 million a year? It would take 18 and 3/4 years. Let's call it 19 years. Again, let's just round it off and call it 2 decades. So roughly in the year 2037 or 2036, somewhere in there, you're going to see this money finally come through, all $750 million of it. You're looking at roughly 2 decades for that kind of money to come through. Now, I know some of you are saying, hey, what if the rate changes? What if that rate goes up or down? Well, certainly if the rate goes up, that money would be paid off quicker. If that rate goes down, that money would take longer to get paid. What about those 40 million tourists? What if all of a sudden we have an economic downturn, which, by the way, over the course of 2 decades, we are more than likely to have one significant economic downturn, maybe even 2. So what if all of a sudden, instead of 40 million tourists a year, you're only getting 35 million or 30 million? Well, of course, then in that case, you're looking at it taking longer than 2 decades, longer than 18 3/4 years. You might be looking at 25 years to pay this off. So certainly if these numbers change, you're going to see the length, how long it's going to take to pay this off. You're going to see that change as well. Some of you also might be asking, those 40 million tourists, do they all spend the night? The answer is no. But certainly there are people in other places in the state of Nevada. This 40 million is just Las Vegas alone. There are people who spend nights in other places. They too, even though they are not in the city of Las Vegas, will have to pay this tax. And so that will offset some of those in the 40 million who don't actually spend the night. Also, that 40 million people does not count people who have multiple nights stays. So that will offset the folks who don't actually spend the night. The average people who stay in the city of Las Vegas stay for 3 to 4 nights. So it would offset that as well. So that's what you're looking at roughly. Barring a couple of major economic recessions, you're looking at about 2 decades, 20 years for the Raiders to pay off their hotel, or the city of Las Vegas, excuse me, to pay off their hotel tax to the Raiders for that stadium. Thanks so much. See you next time.